What's up, guys, and welcome to another Hungover Podcast, episode 30. Today we're going to be talking about grad school, because we're both grad students here. Yes, Yvonne still has not come back as of today. I don't know where he is. I don't know if he'll make it back, but we're still going to keep this wreck of a podcast going as long as we can. As long as we can. Of course, I'm actually going to be going away soon too, and that's not going to make things any easier, but I will try to get the videos and the audio up as soon as possible and whenever it's due. So, of course, you can get this podcast up every single week on iTunes and SoundCloud in audio form, but you can also get it in video form on YouTube. Yes, you can go to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/hungovergaming. That's totally a URL that we have. Totally. You don't need 100 subscribers or anything for that. But, anyways, this is a topical podcast. Maybe you're just joining because of the topic and you were searching for some advice, perhaps, where we talk about everything from video games to politics. But today we're going to be talking about grad school. I have my lovely girlfriend next to me here.
What's up, guys?
This is Nikki, I'm Julien, and we're both grad students. But we always start our podcast out before we get into the topic of the show, of course, by asking each other, what media have we been consuming, whether it be books, movies, TV shows, video games, or the like, music. Did I say music?
Maybe.
I don't know.
Yeah,
and we
media.
also ask, what did you drink last night?
You don't know that I had anything to drink last night.
Well,
you weren't here.
That's literally why I was asking you this. This is the question.
Surprise! I made myself some margs.
Did you?
Yeah, obviously.
Nice.
I had some margs while I watched Attack on Titan. I was living my best life.
You're not in frame.
Sorry. I was living my best life. Drinking some margaritas, watching Attack on Titan.
Uh-huh.
You know.
Because you just got that sweet Crunchyroll subscription.
Love it.
10 cats out of 10?
Oh,
how good is Crunchyroll?
15 cats out of 10.
Crunchyroll, sponsor us.
Yeah,
we
right?
really like your
we
service,
like your stuff.
actually.
Big
It's pretty
fan,
awesome.
big fan. And I'm talking like 10 really attractive Instagram cats. Like these like high quality, not like my slouch of a cat, like
Yeah.
an Instagram quality
that
cat.
cat.
Hey now. And then what
Cat's
else did I
such
watch? I
trash.
finished Yuri on Ice, which was awesome. It was quality.
Yeah.
I'm really glad I watched it. We started watching Food Wars.
Food Wars is an amazing
It's
show.
amazing.
Yeah.
It's fantastic. Also, music-wise, I'm bouncing around, listening to a lot of different stuff on shuffle. Always listening to Streetlight Manifesto. It's a favorite band.
Classic
Quality
Nikki.
music. Quality music.
Yes.
You know.
And what kind of tequila did you use for your marg?
Oh, I use the delicious jalapeno tequila.
Yeah?
Oh,
Sounds good.
So good.
Sounds delicious
so
to
good.
me.
With lime juice, without lime juice though. We had lemon juice, so I improvised a little bit.
Well, you gotta do what you gotta do to get drunk. Now,
Mm-hmm. true.
Nikki, that sounds all good and fun.
Yeah.
But I'd like to talk a little bit more about Crunchyroll. If you don't know, Crunchyroll is our sponsor of today.
No.
I'm kidding. We don't have a sponsorship. Please sponsor us. But they're actually a really cool service.
Yeah.
It's sort of like the anime version of Netflix.
It's true, but they have, you don't actually have to sign up to use it, so you could watch
Oh.
the animes with commercials. I'm
Oh,
pretty
right,
sure that's
yeah.
free, or like maybe $5. I think the premium membership is like $11.
Same price as Netflix.
Yeah, so it's really not too bad, and they
And-
have so much content.
And I don't
So
think
much content.
I don't think they have Netflix's system where they have a rotating
No, it's
content stuff.
stuff's like on
content
there,
stuff.
like on there for
Yeah.
a while.
Well, I don't know because I know licensing changes with them because they have licensing. I'm not sure if they have Funimation licensing. Have you seen Dragon Ball Z on there?
Yeah, they have Super
Okay,
Dragon Ball.
so
They have Dragon Ball Z.
Dragon
They've
Ball
got
Z Super. That's cool because I really like that shit.
Yeah.
Is Yu Yu Hakusho's not on it though?
It's not on it.
So that's a big breaker of a deal for me. Sorry,
Yeah.
I don't
But
know
I
if
think
can
they were
subscribe.
airing Attack on Titan like as it was
No,
coming
yeah, the
out.
coolest-
So
yeah.
that's a pretty sweet feature.
Yeah, the coolest thing of Crunchyroll is if you're really into anime and you don't have TV or anything, they do day and date airing of shows in Japan, you know, because some shows haven't even come out here yet, and they air in Japan and then they air in US. But you can watch the Japanese version of it. I believe if you speak Japanese, I don't think they necessarily have subtitles for all of the shows because they're just Japanese shows and they haven't put the subtitles in yet.
That's another thing I've noticed. I haven't seen too many options for the English dubbed versions of things, so I've just been enjoying the subtitles.
That's how it should be.
Which I think is fine because the voice actors are great. The original voice actors are usually, like, the better voice actors anyway, in my opinion.
That's not necessarily true.
I don't know.
I like the Dragon Ball Z English voice actors.
Okay, the Dragon Ball Z English voices, but, like, the Yu Yu Hakusho one fucked me up. Like, I was so used to the Japanese voices that the few episodes we've watched that are English dubbed.
It's actually Yu Yu Hakusho.
Yeah.
Not Yu Yu Haka. I don't know what that show is.
All right. Well,
anyways,
now that I'm getting sass, and I'm just going to go.
Well, I'll still talk. It's fine. We got to have a podcast somehow.
Fucked me up a little bit because you get used to the voices sounding a specific way.
Absolutely. And also they don't correctly dub the movement of the lips very well with the English words.
Yeah.
They do pretty good job with the Japanese, obviously, because they've been doing it for years.
Right.
But Nikki, that's all good and fun.
Sure.
But I have been playing some Tekken 7.
What else is new?
Surprise,
You're in here
surprise.
clicking away.
I love Tekken 7 still. I did get the Platinum Trophy. I'm not sure if that happened last week before the podcast. If I talked about it.
No, you didn't talk about it in the
about
podcast.
so many things.
You didn't talk about
and
it.
I just don't know whether or not it was recorded.
I think it happened on like Wednesday.
Okay, yeah. So Tekken 7 got the Platinum Trophy. I've officially done everything. But now I'm still playing it. I'm picking up a new character, Asuka. She is super cool. She comes in on a mountain bike in her intro sequence. I don't know why, and I want the backstory as to why she does that. Are you sure it's
like a dirt bike?
No, it's a pedal. It's a mountain bike.
Wow.
That's
impressive.
Bike. It's really cool. She does a sick trick on it, too, and then she skids on the ground. Anyways, she's a really cool character. She has a lot of spacing. I don't know who cares about the fighting game community on listening to this podcast, but she's really good at punishing a lot of whiffed moves, and a lot of her moves are plus on block, which is really nice, and she's got a really good rage drive. But that doesn't mean I've dropped Law. Law is still my favorite. In fact, he's the only character I'm semi-decent with at the moment, so I love Law. He's my man. But so Tekken 7's been super sick to me, and I picked back up Persona 5. I've streamed it a couple times in the past. You can check me out on twitch.tv/jujubesgood in the description below. I stream all the time, sort of, not really. I stream on the weekends at least. A few nights a week on the weekends for sure, when I'm not editing videos for this YouTube channel. But yeah, I was streaming Persona 5 because they finally let me do that again. So I want to beat it for once. I haven't beat it, but I'm probably about halfway through, even though I've played 51 hours.
Oh, that's a lot.
This game's so long.
But you know what else you played?
Sonic Mania, right? That game hasn't come out yet as of last week. It came out last week.
Yeah, but the last podcast.
But it came out on Friday last week.
Again, this is August. We're in August right now, so don't know when this is coming out.
I don't know. Anyways,
15th?
Sonic Mania. Let me tell you a bit about Sonic Mania. Sonic Mania was made by I forgot the developer, but I know the head lead of that team started his life out. His career out making fan games. So he would remake. I think he remade Metroid 2, which is actually being remade by Nintendo right now for the 3DS. It's coming out next month, and I'm super excited for that. But Nintendo shut that down, and but he was really excited, and that's sort of where he got his game programming background. He sort of just had passion products, not an edit. It was a full game.
I know, but
what?
Anyway, ignore me.
Okay. But yeah, so he started out that way, and then he ended up having he got a couple jobs with his company to port games over, and then now he finally made Sonic Mania, the game that's out on everything now. I think it's on Xbox One, PlayStation, Steam, and Nintendo Switch. So it's on everything you could want except for your mobile phone. Sorry, guys. But this game is really such an homage to all the Genesis Sonic games, so 1, 2, and 3, that were 2D games. And really, he took It's pretty much, it plays and looks exactly like those games, and the music is all there.
Good.
It's really
So
great.
good.
And they remixed a lot of the levels. In fact, probably all the levels. So you're getting a completely new Sonic game. This is essentially
but the
Sonic.
feel is so. It's there.
Right. Yeah. It feels like you're playing Sonic the Hedgehog. So this is essentially Sonic the Hedgehog 4 if Sonic the Hedgehog 4 didn't already exist. This is the sequel that you want and deserve. So I'm really happy about that. And there's also a couple secret levels that are how you get the Chaos Emeralds, and they're modeled after the Sega Sonic CD levels, which were 3D, pseudo 3D, but they were basically 3D in a 16-bit graphics art. So it's not really 3D, but it's pretty cool. A lot of blast processing going on. It was super awesome. Blast processing.
Yes.
Sega does what
so
Nintendo
fast.
don't.
He
If you
goes
know
so
what I mean.
fast.
You gotta go fast. That game's really fun. And then also, I watched last night Food Wars, a really fun show.
It's super fun.
It's
fun.
exactly what you would think. It's about cooking. It's an anime about cooking. So
High schoolers.
High schoolers too, yeah. They're 16 years old or something. But if you ever thought that at some point while watching an anime, that anime food looks really delicious and I wish I had one right now, you better watch this because it will make you hungry.
And then probably get a snack because you're going to be really hungry at the end of it.
Preferably
Oh,
a
it's so
Japanese snack or something.
Yes. So
But
good.
yeah, so this show is about, at least from what I got last night, pretty much about this student, the main character. He's going to boarding school, but it's a cooking school, a very competitive cooking school, and basically he has a background. They basically try to model him after a chef that isn't quite. He's not like a French chef or something that was trained very well, but he was actually worked at a diner before.
His family diner.
His family diner, right. So he's not trained in cooking, but all his food he just knows because of instinct, and it ends up being delicious.
And it's super
and
dramatic.
they're the most simple meals, of course.
Yeah. Super dramatic, quality, food related.
Oh,
anime.
yeah.
So good.
And it has all the anime tropes you could want. Big anime tits, a lot of anime, naked anime girls.
Weirdly
It's
naked,
super weird.
euphoric, like eating
And
bits.
yeah, oh, those are the best, actually. Whenever one of the judges eats one of his meals, they like instantly go back to their childhood, just like the end of Ratatouille. If you saw that, that was pretty much. I think that they might have gotten influence from that movie. I hope they did. Anyways, that show's really fun. Go check it out. It's on Crunchyroll or probably Freak.tv. Go check that out. That's where you can watch it for free for sure. But Crunchyroll is where you could do it legally. Yeah, so I did that, and then last night I had some scotch at one of my friends' places, and also we went to Dallas BBQ for dinner, and we had the Texas-sized pina coladas with the extra shot in there. It was
That's
sloppy.
why he came home blasted.
Of course, if you have a Dallas BBQ near you, go ahead and get some fried chicken wings and a Texas-sized pina colada. You will not regret it. But yeah, that's basically what I've done. I feel like we should jump into the topic of the show. Of course, the topic of the show is grad school. We're both grad students. We're in different programs and also different degrees that we're trying to get, of course. I'm currently in a PhD program in chemistry, so that's going to be a lot of my talking points or scientific research and things like that. And you're in a...
I'm in a master's program in anthropology.
Cool.
So a very different
Science.
vibe. Very different science, very different vibe to the program.
Yeah, so we wanted to perhaps you're thinking about going to grad school. Maybe you're in your senior year of college, or you're already graduated and you're looking to go back to grad school. Also, we have different stories about when in our lives we decided to join grad school, so that's good. So maybe you wanted some tips and tricks on how to get in the grad. No, maybe
how to
you wanted
survive.
maybe you wanted some experience into what you're getting yourself into, because it is a huge time commitment in your life. But it's not reasonable. It's I think it's absolutely worth it.
Sure.
But yeah, Nikki, let's start with you. You're the guest of the show.
Sure. We'll start with my journey to grad school.
Your journey to grad school. Of course, we before you 2 podcasts ago we talked about you doing improv.
Right.
Now you're in grad school.
That was actually
Drop
a part
that
of
dream.
that was a part of my journey to grad school. I moved to New York after I graduated from the University of Florida in 2012. Go Gators, legally obligated to say that. And I started doing improv and sketch comedy, and I did that for about 3 years before I realized it wasn't what I wanted to do. Listen to that podcast if you haven't. I talk about it in more detail. And I decided to pursue my master's, and I knew I wanted to go to do anthropology and studying forensic anthropology, mostly human osteology. That's bones, just in case you didn't know that. And so I chose to do that at Hunter because it's an incredibly affordable school. So I think it was about 3 years after I graduated from undergrad that I decided grad school was where I wanted to be. And I took my sweet-ass time before I actually applied to the program, because they let you do a non-matriculated student program. It's basically just taking the classes without having to take the GRE and apply to the program. And I did that for about a year before I finished the GRE, got into Hunter, and started going part-time because I work full-time. And that's another difference that we have about school. But yeah, for the most part, I'm in 2 classes at a time at night after work, and about to start that semester real soon, like the end of next week. I will be going back to class.
Yeah, that is grad school. If you're looking to get a master's, you're going to be taking a lot of classes, and then you have to write a thesis at the end, I assume.
Got to start working on that this semester, actually.
And yeah, so basically, what is the difference between grad school and undergrad for you? I mean, aside from the obvious differences between the schools that you went to.
Sure.
In day-to-day life of classes and things like that, what is the level of class that you're taking? Is that really hard? Or?
Yeah, the classes are smaller and more difficult on a day-to-day basis.
How many people?
There's more often than not less than 20, and in some classes it gets down to like 12 because people just don't want to deal with it.
Yeah.
I have a few classes that have been combined sections, so there'll be undergrads in the class with the grad students, and the grad students are basically expected to be like TAs, where you're helping the undergrads, as well as you'll have extra assignments to make it a grad level course. So the last class I did that with, we were expected to do a 10-page research paper at the end, and the undergrads just had to take the final. So yeah, the classes are usually more difficult. It's like just smaller in general because Hunter's not a very big school, and very, very specific. Like the classes will be very specific, whereas an undergrad class, I feel like more often than not, is usually pretty general or like doesn't get super specific.
Yeah, it's the lower levels. Sure.
Yeah, sure. So once you get into like more advanced classes, you're gonna have pretty specific goals and expectations from the teachers. And like as far as the day-to-day goes, I'm in class 2 hours 2 times a week, whereas undergrad I was full-time, and I was living on campus and going 12 to 15 credits every semester. So there was a lot more expectations school-wise.
Right. No, it seems like if you are thinking about getting a master's, you're probably it's not paid for, so you're going to have to pay for it.
Yes.
And usually by then your parents aren't going to be paying for your school.
No.
Usually, I mean, some people have a very lucky financial situation. They don't have to worry about also paying for rent and things like that. So they don't necessarily need a job.
Right.
But you have a full-time job. Yeah. And you're being essentially a full-time student as well now. So that's something that you absolutely have to plan out financially. Can you actually pay for your master's? It's a lot of money, right? How much money is... I don't want to... Actually, you know what? Don't say that.
Hunter is not the most expensive program.
In America, right.
But yes, you do have to consider that. If you're going to be like me and you're going to go work full-time and go to school for the most part-time, but the amount of time and energy I put into it, it ends up being full-time.
Yeah, and so a lot of people in America are already in debt after their 4 years in college, or 5 years, and then they end up thinking, oh, I should probably pay off my student loans by getting a job, and then they realize perhaps maybe this isn't the career that I want to do with the rest of my life, right? With my bachelor's degrees. So you go back to school. So that's the general path I think a lot of people take in their late 20s for grad school, and they decide to get a master's in something that they're interested in.
Exactly. And for me, it was, I work as an office manager, and I love my job for the fact that I have fantastic coworkers, amazing bosses who are really helpful and let me leave when I need to go to class. And it affords me enough money to pay rent and to pay for school. I'm in a very, very, very lucky position.
Without taking out loans?
Without taking out loans.
That's impressive.
I can afford to pay for my classes without being completely financially burdened. Also, Hunter lets me use a payment program, so I pay a little extra to be able to pay in installments versus wiping out my savings account every time a semester starts.
But you can't see yourself, no offense to your job, but you can't see yourself doing that job for the rest of your life.
Absolutely not. And I think it's expected.
For the next 30 years or something.
It's kind of expected that this is a very short-term position. It's very good for people.
Even though you've been there for how many years now?
It'll be 4 years, actually.
That's not that short.
No, but the person that I replaced was there for 10, and it's one of those jobs where there's so much downtime that it's okay to pursue other things, and my bosses very much know that I'm in grad school and that as much as I like them, I won't be there forever.
Right. Yeah.
It's expected of me, actually, and no one's upset with me for it. No one's mad that I have outside interests, and I think that's very important when you're going to school and working, to make sure that your employers aren't going to be frustrated or aggravated with you having school in your life. Because there are a lot of places that feel like you should be committed to them forever. And showing interest in something else could be detrimental to your career. So,
and then aside from that, there are a lot of actual undergrad programs that get you a master's if you stay an extra year in the program. So maybe you're still an undergrad and you want to switch over to that program, or maybe you're just applying to college to begin with. Maybe you should, if you think that if you know for a fact you can get a job with your bachelor's that you want to be doing as a career, then go ahead and do that.
Yeah,
but
for sure.
Usually nowadays, actually, a lot of people are struggling to find a job coming out of college, and so they end up trying to delay the fact that they have to get a job.
I call it the perpetual student. You're constantly
and
chugging.
By job, I mean career.
Career,
So look, so I mean, you can get a job probably pretty easily with a bachelor's, but it's going to be the job that you want to do, right? Are you actually having fun doing that job? Right. So I guess look out for those programs. There are a lot more popping up. You can spend 5 years in college and have a master's and a bachelor's.
Yeah. Combined degree
programs.
Actually, what you were saying about realizing that what you got your bachelor's in isn't actually what you want to do did happen to me in my senior year of undergrad. I was like, I don't actually want to study psychology at a PhD level. Fuck. And I grabbed a master, or I grabbed my minor in anthropology, which helped me realize that that was the subject I wanted to be studying to begin with. That was what I actually liked doing. So it was a panic, grab a minor, and then I grabbed something that actually worked with what I like doing. Right.
Aside from the financial burden that you're going to be putting yourself under to go to grad school, whether it be $50,000 that you have to pay by the end of a couple years, you also have to factor in how much time you're going to take to go to grad school. So usually master's programs take around 2 years to finish. Some people get out in a year and a half. Right. Some people take longer.
I'm going to be probably about 3.5 years. Because of when I started.
You also have a job.
Right, when I started versus how many classes I can take at a time, just because of my own mental health. I can't be full-time or more than full-time and work. It's just too much strain.
Right.
And everyone's different. There are people who have absolutely no problem doing that. Like one of my good friends, he worked full-time, went to both undergrad and grad school full-time and had no problems.
Yeah.
I just don't function that way, which is fine. Everyone has a pace that they're comfortable working at, and that's a really big deal. Like, you need to understand yourself and do what you're comfortable with. And don't be upset if you have to go part-time to school, because that's something I still struggle with. I get really mad that I can't be doing more. But knowing your limits is better for you in the long run, because right now my grades are great, so I don't want to put that in jeopardy.
Right. So the other degree that is common that you can get in grad school is a PhD, actually. So that's what I'm getting. I'm getting my PhD in chemistry. I've been in my program for 4 years.
Mm-hmm.
It is a 5-year program. So generally, in chemistry and physics, you're going to end up spending 5 years of your life after 4 years of college, after your bachelor's degree, to get a PhD. So it takes a very long time to get one. And then even in biology, I hear a lot of people end up spending 6 years.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, you can end up spending more than these times, or less. I know a couple people that are graduating in 4 years. So,
Nice.
so from my grade or my cohort of students, one of them is actually graduating soon. He's defending his thesis. What is your cat doing?
She's playing with a hair tie.
Okay. But the really nice perk about getting a PhD is you actually get paid to do it. So
Yeah.
you go into no debt. In fact, you're technically at a plus. I get paid $20,000 to $25,000 a year, depending on the year.
Yeah. I mean, it's not gonna like make bank. Like, you're not
No,
gonna be
you're
rolling
not-
in dough,
you're
but
not
it'll
rolling in
cover a decent amount of your expenses.
Right. I can pay rent in New York City, and
With
I
a
can
roommate.
eat. Yeah, with a roommate. Yeah, you're most likely gonna have a roommate for 5 years after
Mm-hmm.
college, which could suck depending on who you're living with. So, yeah. Oh God.
The worst.
So it's really nice. You not only do you come out being able to call yourself a doctor, but you also
not
get
on an
paid the whole
airline.
time to do it.
Don't call yourself a doctor on an airline.
Yeah, don't do that. But so basically, in the hard sciences, the general structure of the program is your first year you're going to end up taking a lot of classes.
Mm-hmm.
Perhaps some of them might be classes that you've already taken. And you can place out of some of them because they give you a placement exam at the beginning. So I had to take organic chemistry, physical chemistry, quantum mechanics, and inorganic chemistry. And they gave us those were the 3 classes I had to take in my first semester. And they give you placement exams in the summer beforehand. And then if you do well enough on those placement exams, you can place out of one of those 3 classes.
Mm-hmm.
So that's really nice, and then you can devote more time to your research. So the whole point of getting your PhD, or what of the things that you do while you're getting your PhD, is you are doing constant research. You're always doing research for your thesis, into publishing papers, and I'm talking specifically for biology, physics, engineering, chemistry, and chemical engineering, physical engineering, etc. I can't really speak towards maybe mathematics, but I assume it's similar. Or I can't speak towards psychology, but again, I assume it's similar.
Most PhD programs are going to be
you're
incredibly
doing
research
a lot of
focused.
research.
That's the goal, because you're establishing yourself as an academic. You don't have to be an academic with a PhD, but that's kind of what's happening
Right.
while you're doing the process. You're going to be teaching, most likely. You're doing a lot.
Yeah,
on
so
that
to
end.
offset half of your salary, you also have to be a TA.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to teach for me, I teach a lab class, but you can also teach a lecture. So you can teach a recitation class or a lecture. You can actually be a lecturer, and that pays half your salary, while your PI, your principal investigator, the person that you work for, who runs a lab, is usually a professor. he or she will, or I guess I shouldn't say he or she now, right?
They is fine.
They. You could be trans.
I mean, you're still identifying as a he or she, but let's not talk
well,
about that.
I thought, isn't there...
Gender fluid
it's
is...
fluid, man.
Gender fluid.
It's fluid.
But
no.
they is a better
Right,
term.
so they end up paying half your expenses, which is nice, and they expect a lot of results from you. In fact, they're entirely gonna either give you or not give you a PhD, essentially. So also what you have to do, aside from taking classes and doing research, is you have to present your research a lot. So as a scientist in your PhD program, you have to get used to speaking in public, giving public presentation of your data. You need to know how to present your data. You need to know how to... These are the skills that I think are not only useful in general for real life, but it's actually a useful skill to learn. And if you can't present what you're trying in almost any field, if you can't present data or I don't know what other people present, but I guess data
is fine.
then you're not going to succeed. So it's really important to be able to do that. And in fact, that's one of the best skills I've learned so far in my PhD program. But yeah, so you end up meeting with what's called your committee every year, at least once a year. And it's a group of professors that work either at your college or at a different college nearby, I assume. And then they essentially decide how much progress you're making towards your thesis. And then they eventually decide whether or not you get your PhD. Yeah. So you're going to have to present to people who really know their shit. Yeah.
But how did... Yeah. So your path to going into a PhD program was different from my path of going into the master's program.
Right. Yeah. So I went directly out of undergrad. I applied to a bunch of PhD programs around America and only got into one.
No.
And I went straight out of undergrad when I was 22, straight into my PhD. I'm now 26. Yeah. So, right. So there was basically a summer in between schooling. So I stayed in schooling. I've never had a real job, a real career-wise job, even though I'm 26 at this point. It's kind of scary. Hey, I made it this far.
That summer was the summer that Julien and I met.
Oh yeah.
While Julien would bring his little books and be studying chemistry while we were at work.
To study at work. It was great. I mean, not to say I haven't had a job.
He's worked a lot.
And all that stuff. Yeah. But I worked a lot.
He worked 7 days a week that entire summer.
Right, of course.
He's insane.
I needed to make some money, all right? Not that. And anyways, I wanted to move out to my mom's place, so I wouldn't make some money. So yeah, it's nice. You get paid and that sort of stuff, but it's a huge time commitment in terms of time. It's 5 years, at least. I've met some people that've been there 10 years. So if you're lacking, no one's gonna tell you what to do. I guess this is a real good talking point. In grad school, in undergrad, you have which classes you need to take, when you need to take, what time you need to take them by, and then
lot of structure.
Maybe write your thesis if that's
master's
something you
thesis
do.
maybe.
Yeah.
There's a lot of structure about
thesis,
your course progress as an undergrad student. There's very, for most programs, there's very specific things that need to happen at specific times, especially in the sciences.
Yeah.
And mathematics. For psychology, depending on the school, anthropology, depending on the school, you'll start with very general classes and work your way toward the more specifics. But with your grad program, it's kind of just like, they might have a couple of required classes that you need to take, but for the most part, it's just like, take what works for your thesis and don't fuck up.
Yeah, no, I mean, I don't take classes anymore,
right.
So that's the thing.
PhD,
I only had to take
point.
classes until my fourth semester, and even in the fourth semester, I was only taking one class. So it's nice. Eventually, you just stop taking classes because there are requirements you have to take. For my program, I had to take 3 of the core classes and then 3 electives, and I spread the 3 electives out over 3 semesters.
Right.
So that's really nice. And then I'm in a dual degree program, so I got a master's already. So I had to take a certain test. Each program is different, of course. I had to basically give a presentation of a proposal I wrote, and I also had to write a proposal, and then I basically presented that, and they gave me, well, they still haven't given me a master's because
CUNY is slow.
It's a whole bureaucratic issue,
Right.
but it doesn't even really matter. That degree doesn't matter because I'm going to get a PhD.
Right.
So, but some people are really sleazy about it, and they basically get into these PhD programs that are dual degree, and then they drop out after they get their master's. So they get paid to get their master's. So
but that's frowned upon. Don't do that.
No, it's definitely frowned upon in the academia. So those people are probably not going to get very good jobs because they saw what happened there.
No.
But yeah, so that's another thing. There are dual degree things. But I wanted to talk about how grad school is different than undergrad, because in undergrad you're taught what to do and all that stuff, and that's really nice. And then you come out and you're like, oh shit, what do I do now, right? Where do I go? What am I doing? But in PhD land, I can't speak towards a master's program. It seems like you guys just take classes, to be honest with you.
I mean, I think every master's program is different. Hunter is very like, here are the, classes you need to take. Like I have a 30 credit minimum, so it breaks down to like 10 classes over 2 years plus a thesis. But the goal is to be taking classes that support what your thesis will be in, at least for the anthro program. I don't know how they do other programs at Hunter because I'm not in them, but for the master's, it's very like, here are the 4 core classes you have to take, and then you have to meet either a language proficiency or a statistics proficiency, and then, you do your thesis, and you should hopefully graduate after that.
In a PhD program, however, it's really dependent on who you decide to work with. So the professor you decide to work with and agree to work with for the duration of your PhD, that person pretty much will make or break you. So it's for instance, I know some PIs are very strict. So the professor is very strict. They want you to come in at a certain time, do your work, do your lab work, always be here, even though I'm not here. Be here around the clock. And a lot of students end up getting worked into the ground, and they have to work. They have to come in at 8 a.m., then they got to leave, but they leave at 10 p.m., so they're working 14-hour days, 16-hour days every single day. They come in on the weekends to do work because a lot of their reactions take a long time and such things like this. I'm more fortunate. Hey, I chose who I work for, so it's on them. If you choose to work for someone that you hear is going to work in the ground, then
be prepared for
that's
that.
who you chose to work for.
But yeah, so I work for someone who's a lot more laid back. All he cares about is results. So he doesn't care when I come in, doesn't care when I leave. As long as I get something done, then I'm in good shape. And that's what I'm doing. So I'm doing fine. And I don't go in on the weekends or anything unless I have to, unless I screwed something up or something and I'm out of time.
Right.
But it's a really good way to figure out how to manage your time, I think, grad school. And also figure out how to solve problems. So a lot of the things you're going to run into are things you were never taught how to do, and some people have never even run into this problem, and you have to figure out how to solve the problem. Right. So, and this is just research in general. So if you're getting a PhD, you're going to be doing research. That's your whole purpose in life until you get that PhD. So you're going to be doing research in a lab, or you're going to be reading things. You're going to be reading things regardless.
Lots and lots of reading.
Yeah, you have to read. You have to figure out things. You have to teach yourself how to do things. No one's going to teach you how to do anything. And that's sort of nice at the same time.
Well, the whole point is that you were supposed to have been learning as an undergrad how to think critically and think for yourself and arrive at ideas that no one else has essentially come to before or think about something in a new way. It's supposed to be creative problem solving. It might not work out that way, but that's the idea. And I want to say that I do have to work with a PI, and I'm going to have lab meetings, and I will have all of those things. It's just I haven't gotten to that yet because the way Hunter is set up is that your first year you're not really doing a lot of thesis work. Yeah. You're meeting your professors, you're getting to know who you want to work with. Especially because I'm part-time, so there's a little less pressure on me to be doing these things in the 2 years. But my friends who did do the program in 2 years, by the end of the first full year, they had who they were going to be researching with already. They, had thesis topics. They were going to weekly, lab meetings and listening to their cohorts present their data. So it does have that similarity. It's, there's the same kind of aspect to it where you're going to lab meetings, you have to perform your research, you're doing all of this in conjunction with the courses. It's just not as long of a program. So I think that's probably why there are more classes taken and not as much like in lab work. But I know a lot of people who are in their labs all the time, who are constantly working on trying to get their data figured out and working on their thesis. Because I work full time, I have to do these things in a slightly different manner. So I won't necessarily be in a lab every day like Julien, but I have to still come up with data, have to find the time and make it work within my own schedule, which, is a little bit of an added stressor, but I think just for where I am in my life, it works out easier for me to do it this way.
Yeah, well, the whole point is you have to be really independent
right.
about your own research, and you'll be expected to have published a lot of papers by the time you graduate. So I'm probably expected to publish 3 papers
right.
as a first author in peer-reviewed journals, and that's really important. If you don't even know what a peer-reviewed journal is, I suggest you look it up, because that's what you're going to be reading a lot of in grad school, just a lot of papers.
It's important to understand your sources, to know where things are coming. I think it's important for people in general, not to get super political, but that's why people are having a hard time differentiating between things that are not real in news stories and things that are real. So they don't know how to check their sources, which is something you should probably learn in high school. Understanding what's a credible source and what isn't a credible source. And peer-reviewed is considered one of the most credible sources you could use.
Right, yeah, so you're expected to publish a lot. And
in those kinds of journals.
And then use all that data to write your thesis, which I'll get back to you guys on that one, how to write a thesis. We'll do a podcast on that one once we've written them.
Thesis party where we'll both have just bags so deep under our eyes and look like little corpses.
Yeah, well, I guess we've sort of talked enough about it. Tell us in the comments section below, or tweet at us at Gaming Hungover, all that information, how to get in contact with us, or even email at us at gaminghungover@gmail.com.
Yeah. Bother us on social media.
It's all in the description below if you need any of our contact info.
Yeah.
But yeah, on social media, that is. If you're going to grad school, tell us in the comment section below, etc. And what sort of concerns or questions do you have about grad school? We'll totally answer them for you.
Same for undergrad. I mean, we've both been there, so if you have questions about higher education, we're totally there to answer them for you.
If you're in high school right now, perhaps
testing
you want to
and
know.
Application processes, those are stressful times. So.
I guess to get into grad school, you also need to take the GRE, the Graduate Record Exam. It's basically a
fancy
SAT. Beefed up SAT. So it's the same nonsense, but they expect you to know a little more.
Longer and more expensive.
And it's an expensive test, and it's a 6-hour test, and it sucks, but you got to do it. Some. And then there's also specialized GREs that sometimes you have to take. For instance, there's a chemistry GRE I took, which is only chemistry.
I just took the general GRE, which was shitty enough.
Yeah, it's bad. So yeah, I don't want to talk about that. No.
Those are bad memories. We've got a little bit of traumatic experience.
If you have questions about the GRE, we can answer any questions you have, of course.
All of that stuff.
And of course, just contact us either via email or in the comment section below. That would be really cool. But yeah, Nikki, we always end our podcast every week in a song in a segment called Hungover Radio. This is for the audio listeners only, so if you'd like to get which song we're listening to on the audio portion, you could either, subscribe to us on iTunes or SoundCloud, and perhaps maybe even write a review on iTunes. That'd be great. 5 stars helps with our visibility. Did you know that, Nikki?
I want to be more visible, guys.
Can you actually, write us a freaking review,
I'm sorry,
please?
I have to do
I wrote
that.
us one. God damn.
I'm writing a review today. I'm sorry. I've just been enjoying my week before class starts. I'm lazy.
Anyways, well, sometimes you got to do some work around here, all right?
I'm sorry.
But yeah, if the link will be in the description below of the YouTube video.
So you have a song,
can
Julien?
totally get the song.
You wanna
I
tell us
do
what
have
song
a
it is?
song.
You want to tell us?
Today's song is from Super Street Fighter 2, or this particular version of it. Guile's stage theme is really exciting. It's one of the best songs to come out of Street Fighter history. And Street Fighter is enjoying its 30th anniversary this month. I think actually coming up soon. Yeah.
I think it was the 28th.
Oh, it is the 28th.
It's the day after my birthday.
Yeah, well, fancy that.
Happy birthday, Street Fighter.
Yeah. Hopefully, maybe Capcom can, announce a Street Fighter anthology for PlayStation 4, Xbox One, and Steam. Perhaps. I don't know. It could happen. It might have already happened by the time you're listening to this. But I'm super hyped for it. Maybe throw a Third Strike in there with some online functionality.
What?
Not that isn't already on PS3, etc.
Means.
Yeah, it's Street Fighter 3. Anyways, for all you Street Fighter fans, I hope you guys enjoy this Guile stage theme. And if you think this is a good song, perhaps you want to go play Street Fighter. Go ahead and check that game out.
Do it.
It's all over the place. But, of course, Hungover Radio comes at you every week. And you can send in your own songs if you want some free advertisement, perhaps, or maybe you just want to share a song with us.
Are you writing music?
A song that you wrote,
music?
produced, etc. This is a super easy way to get that shit heard.
Yeah.
Send it in to gaminghungover@gmail.com. Of course, it's all in the description below. Or get in contact with us on Twitter. The DMs. Slide into those DMs if you need to. An MP3 link is really easy for me to put in this podcast, so definitely do that. But yeah, we'll put it in the audio portion, of course, because we want to avoid some copyright things. But Guile's stage is playing probably somewhere around now.
It's gonna happen.
Yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the podcast. Any questions, send them to us.
Go to grad school.
Go. Yeah, there's a lot of downtime also sometimes, and you got to figure out a way to still be sane and see your friends.
Yeah.
So, hope you guys enjoyed the podcast. I'm Julien.
I'm Nikki.
And this is Hungover Gaming. Peace out.
Bye.